and welcome back to Beyond the Monsters. And today I have Angelina here with us, and she's going to share her story.
So tell me, is there room for me to cry? Is the devil all inside my mind? I don't want to die like this. I want to live my life.
All right, Angelina, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad that you came. You had a little bit of a drive coming?
A little bit,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. You know what? Just start wherever you want. And you have a lot of story to tell. Yeah. So wherever you're comfortable, just start from there and we'll just let it flow.
Okay. Well, I can start with my childhood a little bit.
Okay.
Just kind of like a background of how I grew up. I grew up in a very Catholic household. My grandmother raised me. Okay. So the reason being is because both of my parents were addicts. They were both in prison, and so somebody in the family had to take me in. And
okay.
Yeah, so she raised me. She was very Catholic. She also, served in the church. She was a Eucharistic minister. Everything we did was church.
So is she pretty strict?
Very much so.
Yeah.
So we looked perfect on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything. We went to church, looked like the perfect happy family, but there was a lot of alcohol and stuff in the family.
Okay.
Some things that, my grandmother just didn't want people to see, like the imperfection.
Right.
So we didn't talk about much.
The whole perfect on the outside.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, we look great, but we're really not inside the house. So she was super strict. She was so worried about me becoming more like my mother, my birth mom. So she really kept me inside the house. And
now, was that her daughter?
That was actually her niece. So just to kind of give that part of the story is that my mother's side of the family took me in. And so I was not told that was really my great aunt, who I called grandma.
Right.
So,
gosh.
So from there, it was just like, I was very isolated growing up because she was so worried friends would, try to get me to go out and, go to the movies, let's do something, as I got older, and I would not be able to do that.
Okay. So you were kind of sheltered.
Yeah.
Very sheltered.
Mm-hmm, yeah, right? Definitely. So I pretty much stayed in my room. My grandmother was one of those that I pretty much had to take care of her. So it was very reversed.
Right.
And then also with feelings and everything, feelings were just go to your room and deal with them until you can come back out and act right.
Okay. So you could never really talk about how you were feeling.
Yeah. So definitely not talking about feelings. There was no, like I didn't have a voice growing up, So yeah, just from that time on, like just being in the church and going through all the things that you're supposed to in the Catholic Church in that time with all the classes and everything like that. I pretty much, did everything perfect up until I was a teenager. And then I decided, hey, I'm going to start running away. I'm going to start running out at night and I'm going to go meet this guy that I met, in school. And we're going to go and have fun with friends and stuff at night. Come home just long enough to, my grandma had no idea that I had just gotten into bed. So I remember I ran away from home and the next thing I knew, I stayed out a little bit and got pregnant with my first son.
Okay.
I was 17. Yeah. So my grandmother was like, okay, like you need to come home. And I was like, I think so too. And finish up my senior year because I was 17.
Oh, so you had ran away. This all happened. And then she's letting you come back home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I was like, okay, I gotta act right. Cause I was starting to drink and have fun with friends and decided to do some stuff that just probably a 17-year-old shouldn't be doing. So.
Right.
So, yeah.
I feel like a lot of kids, though, when they're super sheltered, they just rebel always.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they don't realize. I don't think the parents realize that.
Not
until later. Yeah. Was she better when you came back home?
She was a little bit better. Still sheltering. But she was actually she helped a lot with the baby once he was here and everything. So I could go back to school and everything and try to finish my senior year off and everything. Okay. So I had a lot of support on that end. Just a lot of criticism along the way and everything, of course. But that was just normal to me to hear that. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, but she accepted the baby, accepted both of you back, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did you finish high school?
I didn't finish. I ended up I was credit short. So it didn't work out and everything. But I ended up, just at that time I had to get on welfare and food stamps and everything. And I did whatever they asked me to do, because they were like, hey, you have these benefits to go back to, school. We'll pay for childcare and everything. And I was like, you know what? Absolutely. I was like, I just wanted to do something, I was pretty independent. So
right.
I ended up doing that. But in the meantime, I had met my second guy in my life who was going to be my first husband, and we ended up having another baby. So that kind of slowed down.
So how old
some
are you
stuff.
now?
I was 20 then.
20. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So 20 years old, had my daughter, and then shortly after she was born, I went back to school. I was still on food stamps and welfare for that time, just for that little bit, because I was just like, I got to do something. So I went to school. They went to daycare. I finally got off of all that stuff, because I was really, really happy about that, because having to go to the food stamp office every month and checking in and, everything reporting. So, yeah, I did all that and went to school, became a medical assistant for a little while, worked on the Navy base in San Diego.
Okay.
And, I was trying so hard because my grandmother was still in and, out of the house, because at that time she was getting sick. She was starting to go to the hospital a lot.
Okay.
And so I ended up having to take the responsibility of the household.
Mm. So are you guys there at her house with her?
Yes.
At this point? What did she think of the new guy?
She did not like him at all.
Oh, gosh.
She's like, something is wrong with him. We don't like him. So they were like, no, he can't stay here. So
Was she right?
oh yeah, definitely. Later on.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened then after that? You're working as a medical assistant and grandma doesn't really like the new guy. But now you have another baby too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had the 2 babies and everything.
How did she do with you guys all in the house? And was he in the house too?
No, he was actually living with his family at the time and stuff. So he would come over after work and everything. So she was okay with that part.
Right.
It was just, moving in. And, she ended up going into the a rehab facility because she was getting too sick. She had fallen while I was at work. Family was like, hey, there's nobody there.
Right.
She's going to have to go in and stuff. So I just remember just continuing to take on the bills and everything. And I'm trying to get to and from work and, trying to juggle everything.
Right.
And thankfully I was able to,
Yeah.
So, but shortly after I had married the guy, my grandmother had passed away like 2 months later. So, yeah.
How did everything look after that? Were you able to still stay in the house with the kids or?
Well, her daughter had taken over the house and said that you can stay, the children can stay, but your husband cannot stay.
Okay.
And of course, me being young and wanting to keep the family, unit
That's
together.
fine. I'll just go get my own place.
Right.
Yeah,
we're going to be fine. We'll do just fine. And we ended up getting help from his side of the family.
Okay. Good.
And so they were able to help us get, housing and all that good stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a plus in all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So after a few years went by, still working as a medical assistant at that time, I ended up losing my job because the way that the civilian contract work does is sometimes they get sold out and another company comes in.
Okay.
So that's what had happened, but they brought all their own employees in. So at that time I was like, okay, so I just worked at a grocery store, worked there for almost a year. And then my husband's family said, hey, we're moving to Kentucky. And so we want you guys to come with us. And I'm like, okay, And
the relationship was pretty good with them?
Yeah, it was pretty good. They were very helpful during that time. Very supportive. At the time, I didn't see it. I was just like, you're taking me away from my friends and my family. But I wanted to be that family unit, so I went to Kentucky and everything.
Now, your parents are both still in prison
at that time? I believe so. At that time, yeah.
Okay.
So when I moved to Kentucky, that's when my drinking really started, and then I started using a little bit of drugs. But it was like on and off, because I really didn't feel like I really liked to be on it. or anything.
Right.
But the drinking happened because of I felt really lonely, and I thought, like this, the kids are in bed and I'm okay to do this, so
Right.
I would do that.
You're living with his parents?
We're living by ourselves at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I started just feeling lonely. I didn't have a real big support system. All my friends were in California. We're all in our 20s. So,
Right.
like everything's a huge deal,
Of course. Of course.
And I found alcohol again, like it was just my coping mechanism for the time. And my husband at the time also, he was out on jobs, so he would be out of town or
okay. So it's just you with the kids
and everything. So I felt really overwhelmed, during that time, trying to do all that and trying to be a wife and a mother and hold
Right.
it down at the house and be a stay-at-home mom at that when I'm not used to sitting still.
Right. Right. So it started with the drinking, and then what drugs did you go to?
At that time it was marijuana.
Okay.
So I was trying that, but I just didn't like the feeling of feeling sleepy to me.
Right.
So I was like, well, I mean, it's not any better with alcohol, but I mean, like it numb. I wanted something to numb
Right.
more than anything.
Was it like every night?
It started off maybe a couple nights, and then it was every single night.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so.
And would you drink just until it was time to go to sleep, or until you passed out, or?
Pretty much both.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. And then you're doing, like, you're smoking weed or marijuana, whatever. And then did you progress to more?
Yeah, eventually I did. But at that time I was just drinking. And so then I found I wanted to be a bartender. Get closer to what you like,
right,
I guess.
Right.
So I ended up bartending for a little while. And at that time, then that's when the blackouts started happening more and more. Because I was like thinking, well, I worked so hard at my job, and I think I deserved to have some drinks,
right.
So I would do that. And then there was a point where I was just like, one night, it was close to my birthday. I remember I had gotten so drunk the next day. I was like, I got to do something with my life, because I can't be a bartender my whole life,
Right.
I got to find a career or something. So, just out of the blue, I was like, I'm going to join the military.
Okay. That's a big one. Okay.
So I ended up, getting in touch with a recruiter in Kentucky, and at first I tried to go to the Navy, and they were just like, it was just not my path that was going to take me. So I joined the Army. They got me in. I was shipped off to basic in like a month.
Okay. So who's taking care of the kids?
My husband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was taking care of the kids because they were going to ship me off within a couple of days. And I was like, hey, I need a month or something
to
so
prepare
I can
a little.
prepare and everything. So, yeah. So I went to basic training. I was gone for a little while for that training, and then my AIT training, and came back home, and I was just like, I don't know. I just felt like my relationship with my husband was just not there.
Was he supportive?
He was supportive, but he also, we were just a drinking household. So 2 alcoholics in there, just,
right.
It's hard.
Doesn't usually mix very well. Yeah.
No.
Okay. So you get through basic training, and then you went to, like, what is it, like technical training or whatever. What were you deciding to do? Like, what was the job?
Well, my job was a truck driver.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And I pretty much, I thought, being in the military, that my drinking would pretty much slow down or stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was not the case. I ended up drinking heavily, even more and stuff. And I started doing some questionable things, just demoralizing myself in front of people. And
right.
so then, just having those feelings from doing that to myself, it was just putting me in a darker abyss. And I just thought, I would drink, hear stories. The next day I'd be like, I still have the guilt and the shame from it, but I am going to continue to drink because I figure it'll just go away.
It's not enough to make me stop.
Yeah. It's just going to go away,
Right.
So, but it didn't. So.
Wow. That's a lot already. And you're only in your, mid-20s?
Yeah, I was at almost 30 by that point.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Still no contact with your bio parents or anything? Okay.
Well, actually, yes. My mom, I had found her, and I ended up meeting her when I was about 26. So it was very interesting.
You didn't know them?
I didn't know them at all, and I had went on the internet and think the internet just so happened. And the crazy thing was, she only lived about 10 minutes from where I was at when I was a teenager.
Wow.
So when I got to meet her, it was different because I guess I had expectations of what she should look like and what she should act like and everything, but she wasn't anything like what I thought she was going to be, you know. So
Good, better, or worse?
I could tell that from the years of drug use and everything, she wasn't all there.
Right.
So
Okay.
it was really hard to see that part and everything in me still want to be like, hey, mom, love me, you know, like I want you, you know, like this
Like I'm right here.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, see me, love me, you know, I'm so happy, but it was just a very awkward situation at that point. And I ended up meeting my dad later on. It was just in 2017, I met him for the first time. So it was just like, you know, being able to find them on the internet and get in touch with family members and stuff and, you know, verify, you know, like make sure everything lined up of what I was told growing up.
Did you ever feel like abandoned by them though, or like why didn't you guys reach out to me?
Yeah,
You know?
I definitely did. It was just one of those, like, I always had this void. I felt like I had a void. And when, you know, Father's Day came around, it would be hard, you know, like I don't have a dad around, you know, like everybody else is making cards and everything. So, and I did have that feeling of like, I should have a perfect fit. It's always been that in my head, you know? So it was just, when I met her, I thought that would fill the void and it didn't. And I was actually quite angry. I had some resentments towards her that I didn't realize.
After seeing
her and stuff.
Okay.
And I remember when she had called me one time and she was talking to me, I purposely was mean to her on the phone. Like I made her cry and I was just like, for some weird reason, a little piece of me felt good about that because just because she hurt me, I wanted to hurt her a little bit at that time.
Right.
And looking back now,
Because you
like,
probably felt like, you know, you left me and I'm here on my own in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So, but yeah, it was just all those feelings of that. But, you know, as my story progresses, you'll see where like I start to realize where I understand what she did.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Let us have it, girl.
So now I'm about 30. So I'm in Afghanistan, got deployed there. While I was overseas, it was hard. Just because I felt like, you know, like with my feelings and stuff, I wasn't able to really, you know, talk about them. I could stuff them down. And when I did that, I kind of did more damage to myself internally. And on top of that, at that time, I had actually had somebody in my unit that tried to actually touch me in the wrong way, and it got reported because I had talked to my squad leader about it, and I didn't want it to get any further than that because I thought we could just do it on the lower level. Somehow it got all the way to court martial. Once it got to court martial, I just remember the questions being aimed at me like, did you give him a reason to even think he could do that? Did you guys sleep together? All this stuff. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he's sitting like maybe 5 feet away from me, shaking his head. And I'm so scared to talk. And I didn't know what to say. And I just remember the feeling of like being overwhelmed and feeling like, how could they blame this on me?
Right.
When I didn't ask for that.
Yeah. He was the aggressor. Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up having kind of like a meltdown over there and stuff and just didn't know what to do. I felt like shut down. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
Sounds like they were victim blaming.
Yeah,
a lot.
for sure. And I had a friend that was in the same unit. Something happened to her. I still don't know what happened to this day, but she was there as well for that same person. And
the same
person.
Guy? Oh God. Okay.
So yeah, so I was just like, oh man. And so they found him not guilty. And so they kept us apart, like from pretty much he was working if I wasn't in the area. But during that time, I just remember feeling like nobody's listening to me, and I feel like I'm lost. Nobody listens. I'm not going to talk. And so I kept internalizing a lot more.
Were people alienating you or treating you differently, or was any kind of crap, you know, being talked constantly among like his people? Did you have to deal with any of that?
Well, my closest buddies were definitely on my side, and they were very supportive. With him, I'm not quite sure on what happened after that.
But you didn't experience backlash from like people or anything
not
crazy?
Until I actually got back from Afghanistan. I had to, like, my unit that I had to go back to, they started to call me a liar. It was just really hard to be taken seriously. And And that was hard because I was just like, wow,
Sure.
you know, and, you know, just anything I would do in the unit, it was always like, hey, you're going to get a counseling statement. You're going to get a counseling statement. And I was getting into more depression at that point. I didn't know where to go. At that point, I was just like, I remember they had given me some trazodone for sleep when I got back. And I got drunk one night and I just took a couple handfuls of them because I was like, I didn't know what to do. I just want it done. You know,
Right.
like, let's end this
Right.
now. But then my kids flashed before my eyes and I was just like, what did I just do? And I
Yeah.
ran to my husband and said, look, I did this. And so they got me to the hospital. And according to him, they already had me ready to get zapped and everything to come back. I don't remember any of that. But they did put me into the mental ward of the hospital at
For
that
sure.
point to
Yeah.
put me on medication, try to see what's going on and everything. I just remember going back to my unit to talk to my platoon sergeant. And I said, hey, you know, like, this is what happened. And all he said was, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, and walked off. And I didn't get validated again. So I really felt
So all this time, you had to be feeling so lonely
yes.
and never heard or
Mhm.
seen.
Yeah. Mhm.
Did anything good come out of the hospital stay?
At that time, I mean, if I would have taken it seriously, I think so.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was just like, I didn't trust anybody. There's
Right.
like no trust there. So even on medicine, I was just like, I got this. I can do this. I
Right.
don't need help. I don't need anything
I
from
don't need
anybody.
anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't the right way to do that.
Of
so-
course. Yeah. But when we're in the thick of it, we sure think we know,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and, you know, people, it's almost like that. Some people, like, they turn their back on you.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh. So how are you dealing with that, like, in your head?
In my head, I was like trying to find something to cope with it. And it
Yeah.
was just more and more alcohol. And so it was just like the more I drank, the more I would black out, the more I would, you know, it's just an endless cycle of
Yeah.
just all of that. But I just didn't know. And I didn't want to believe I was an alcoholic either, you know? So, cause I was just like, yeah, you know, that's not me. I can control it.
Like, you're in
Yeah.
control. You
Yeah.
have this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. How's home life while this is happening?
Very rocky, very toxic, because I was starting to act out. I wasn't myself at all.
Okay.
I wasn't nice to my first husband at all. You know, I just came back different. Hardly, I was there for my kids, but I wasn't there, if you know what I
Right,
mean. So,
right.
it was always like the alcohol, like by the end of the night, I was ready to drink. Like I could not wait until the nighttime to start drinking.
Okay. And do you think the kids started to notice, like, differences in you?
Today they say they remember it.
How old are they now?
They're 26 and 23.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, so they'll tell you all of it now.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, they felt it. They knew something was wrong, I think.
Okay.
But you know, at that time I was like, oh well, I'm doing it while they're asleep.
Right.
You know, I'm not thinking of
Justifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For
Mhm.
sure. So what happens now after at the hospital? You come home.
Mhm.
Things are still rocky. You're drinking.
Mhm. Yeah, and it just ended up the marriage was failing.
Okay.
And so at that time I was trying to find, you know, that void to fill again. And so I'm like, I can't be alone. I'm just like one of those people that just codependent. I need to be
Right.
with somebody.
Right.
And I ended up reconnecting with somebody that I was in the military with at one time. He actually found me on Facebook and messaged me, and he was saying how he was divorced. I was like, oh, you know, like, well, I'm separating from my husband.
You're
You know,
like, me
like
too.
so I mean, this is perfect
Yeah.
time. It's divine intervention. That's what I
Right.
thought at the time. You know, I thought
Yeah.
this was meant to be and everything. And with that relationship, I ended up not realizing how dangerous it would have been, because then it was very it was a very violent relationship. He was very physically violent, mentally.
Was he using?
Not at that time.
Okay.
I just remember I got out of the military in 2017, and within a week I was on methamphetamines.
Really?
Yeah. So that was introduced through another friend of ours that
Okay.
we didn't
But
really
with him?
with him. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm So yeah. So during that time, it was just, you know. Well, let me backtrack. I'm sorry. 2015, we end up moving in together. I end up pregnant with my third.
Okay.
So we have a little boy. And I'm trying to keep it together and everything. 2 weeks after I have my son, I just remember him getting in the truck, my ex, and he was just like, I can't do this with you, but you have an ultimatum. Either we can have an open relationship or I have to leave you because I'm not attracted to you anymore.
Oh.
So I was just like, 2 weeks. I have a 2-week-old baby.
2 weeks postpartum. Like, hey, buddy, you could have waited a little longer.
Yeah. And so I was like having to give him an answer right in the parking lot, like in the driveway. And I just remember saying, no, okay, we can do this. We can have this open relationship just to make him happy, because I was so like, I was so into my emotions at that time. I just didn't know what was up. And I was,
well, you're not chosen again.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. Okay. So now just had a baby, your third baby, and it's time to start an open relationship.
Yeah. And he already had somebody lined up. So I guess he had been seeing her for a little bit and everything. So she came over and we got to know each other and all that. But it just was very, very awkward. And of course I had to use, alcohol to get past all the jitters and whatever else, because I just didn't know what to do. Like I didn't have a voice, nobody really cared and everything. So I remember finally saying something like, no, we're not doing this. I can't do this. I just can't.
Yeah.
So he decided that he was going to stay in the relationship still. And at this point he wanted to marry me. And I thought it was serious. Like everything.
Wait, he wanted
to marry me.
But he's still in that relationship too.
Yeah. And he had to leave her when I had opened my mouth about it and said, hey, I can't do this anymore.
And did he?
He did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So then, yeah. And
did you feel chosen then?
Yes, especially when he says, I want to marry you.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, there we go. Family unit again.
Yeah.
We're going to have this perfect family.
It'll be perfect now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So we ended up getting married. And it was just really bad because the using was going on. We had, the 3 kids in the house, just trying to hide it again, only at night, right. Whenever that's going on. But
is this meth? Still using meth?
Still using
Both
meth.
of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it just started getting even more violent as time went on. Finally, DCS was called in.
What would cause the violence? Usually, did he have certain triggers or?
He would, if he he was going through psychosis during that time a lot. So a lot of it was like, oh, somebody was here when I wasn't here. And then it would get into violent. So he would get very physical and paranoid and everything. And so it was just, it was I never knew when he was going to pop off. And that was hard. But also I knew it was because of the drugs. And then I didn't know how to get out of it. Once I was there, I was like, oh no, what do we do? Because I don't know.
Were you guys able to get up in the morning and take care of the kids like normal? And
yeah, most of the time I would be up almost all night. So by the time they had to go to school, I was ready to, they were going. But I still had the baby to take care of. So I would continue using just to stay awake. And so that's when I knew something was wrong, because I was just like, I'm having to stay awake. But also with, dealing with probably depression at that time.
For sure.
And just feeling alone. Because I couldn't just go up to my friends and say, hey, I'm using this. Because nobody, it's
exactly
wrong. But yeah.
So how long did this continue?
It continued for about a couple months until it got really bad. And then that's when DCS was called in.
Okay.
And DCS came in and got, pretty much were like, hey, no contact. He needs to go. You can keep the children. And at that point I was like, this is my sign to be like, get off this stuff, stop using all that stuff. So I got straight there, while he was gone. But then I let him back in the house. And he violated the no contact order. So he had to go back to jail.
Did he get domestic violence or something charges?
That too. So, and somehow with the court system and everything, we were like, hey, we're going to move back to California. We're going to try to start new, everything. Are we allowed to go back to California and keep the children and do what we need to do? And they're like, the social worker was like, absolutely. And so we were like, okay. So we moved back to California, and the social worker writes me on Facebook. She's like, hey, what's your address? The case is closed. 2 days later, the cops were there, and CPS was at the door, and they took the baby. So that was the start of me waking up like, whoa, this is this is serious now.
Were you guys still using?
Yeah, we were still
okay.
using too. We were actually staying with his side of the family at the time. And so I remember like within 2 days, I was in a mental institution down there because I was just like distraught over the whole situation.
Right.
Court dates went through that. I ended up going to a safe house in California. There was a domestic violence shelter that was able to take me in. And
So he was very violent even in his family's home?
no,
Where you
he
were
would
staying?
never show himself to his family. It would always be on, yeah. And
Okay.
so, yeah, when we were out, if we were out, you know, running the streets and everything, yeah,
Right.
he would get like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, I ended up going into the mental institution. I didn't know what else to do. I was so alone at that moment in time. But when I had reached out to that domestic violence shelter, you know, they were helping me with, you know, somebody at the court to go with me and stuff. And then they would tell me, you know, like, this is what his mannerisms are going to be like at the courthouse. I mean, they knew a lot more. I mean,
Right.
before he even walked in, they would tell me the breakdown and he would act just like that. And I was just like, oh my God, like, how do you guys know this? You know, like,
Because they're pretty textbook, you know,
Yeah.
once they're already starting that behavior and addiction, I mean, it's most people are pretty textbook
yeah.
on how they act and behave.
Yeah.
So you're at his family's house with the kids though at this point. He gets domestic violence again. Where are you still there? Do
No,
they-
that's when I go to the domestic violence shelter.
Oh, so
and
you
stuff
left
to, like,
there
yeah.
because you had okay.
Yeah, because I
okay.
was just like, I need help. Something's not right. And because in my head, I was thinking domestic violence victims are the ones that have purple, black, blue faces.
Right.
He would never touch my face. It would only be from the neck down where I could cover it up. So I always thought that you get beat every day. It's all this, and it really isn't.
Right.
You know.
Right. It's not.
So yeah.
So are you getting clean now then?
Oh
At
yeah.
the-
Yeah. I'm going, you know, like I'm staying clean. I'm taking the drug test, doing whatever the, you know, the courts want me to go. They want me to go to meetings, all that stuff. So during that time, everything seems like it's going okay. Then I start to really miss him. There's a familiarity, I think, of everything. And then thinking, you know, like, well, maybe he's changed.
Right.
You know, everything that happened, maybe he's changed. And so I reached out to him and I ended up falling right back into the same routine.
Right.
At that point, we were homeless and then living in a car and rolling the streets.
You, him, and the kids, or just you two?
It's just us two at this time. The kids are in the court system.
So they're in foster care. and so- okay.
Yeah. So I was just like, at that point, I just thought, you know, well, here we go again. I might as well just give up. And so just give in to the addiction, you know, give in to everything. And
So you didn't care?
I didn't really care at that point. And so I was out for about 3 more months. And then finally I went to rehab. I tried that.
Okay.
And so like at that point, he left to rehab. I went to rehab. It's 2 separate places. So I thought this would be good for us to be apart maybe, but you know, we're going to get clean together and, you know, live a happy life again.
Then it'll be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again. So I ended up going to rehab. 46 days in, I decided to leave and I ran right back into it. So it just was like, I don't know what was going on.
Do you remember what you were thinking? Like, why?
I was so scared of success. Okay. I remember feeling that way. Like everything's going good. When is the other shoe going to drop?
When's the ball?
Too much is coming.
Yeah.
That's good. You know, and so then I would, I guess, in a way, self-sabotage.
I was just going to say self-sabotage.
Yeah. So just, you know, I mean, just looking back, it's crazy. But every time I would get close to something good or too much good was happening, I would fall back into it. And so I remember I was out for quite a while at that point.
Where'd you go? Like you
Just
leave rehab and you're just streets again?
Yeah, streets again. And living on, and you know, like in a car, going wherever we could sleep. You know, when we did sleep, there was just, I mean, like when you're homeless and you're in that situation, like it seems like nobody cares, you know, like,
right.
You know, and then you're just feeling even worse about yourself. So you don't want to show yourself, you know, isolation, all that.
Right.
So,
right.
And then finally I tried again. I tried to get, you know, this is 1.5 years later after the first initial court system. And
you haven't seen the kids or anything during this time?
Not when I was on the street. During the time I had supervised visits and stuff. And so I was able to talk to them on the phone and also see them taking parenting classes and all that. But that's when I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, you know how a lot of people, you know, everybody wants to say, well, why didn't you do it for the kids? Why didn't you get clean for the kids? Why do you think you couldn't?
I think,
Do you remember like the thoughts that you were thinking during that time?
yeah, in my head, I was thinking everything I'm doing and getting right now, I deserve because of that. So every hit, beat, talk to, I deserve every bit of it because that's who I am, because I can't go straight for my kids.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
So the spiral just keeps going down.
Yeah. I just thought I deserved every bit of it, every bit of what was coming to me. So,
because I know a lot of people do ask that. Even, I was a professional in psych and addiction for like 20 years. And that was always my thing too, where I'm like, why can't they just do it for their kids?
Yeah.
And everybody pretty much says the same thing. Like, you're just so far down. You don't feel like you can ever crawl out.
yeah, that's exactly right.
And like the kids deserve, like they'll say the kids deserve better, like not to be around me. And it's like you lose all your self-worth.
Yeah. And it's just, that's what the words that were coming from my family and his family were, like I took a lot of responsibility. It's crazy because my therapist and I are just now talking about this, and how much responsibility was put on me when we both lost, what was going on at that time, so it was just like, having to deal with the responsibility. I had so much of that, and so many people saying, you're a crappy mom, you didn't do this. And it just made it even worse because what he was doing to me. And then on top of those words being said, and I was already
kicking you when you were down.
Yeah, so it was just like feeling even worse and worse and worse. And I was so into my feelings, and I didn't see what everybody else was trying to tell me either.
Right.
So,
well, it's nice that you can look back though now and you do recognize.
Yeah. Right before the very last court date, and this is 1.5 years into everything, my lawyer was like, hey, like you're going to have to sign your rights away for your son. Because my daughter was lucky. Her grandmother ended up taking her in. So at that point, because my oldest was already 18, so he wasn't in the system. So I just remember saying, well, I'm 17 days into rehab, why they should be able to give him back to me, and all this. And he's like, no, that's not going to happen. And so like I kept thinking, reality wasn't with me yet still. So I was just like, okay, well, the day of the court date, maybe they'll change their mind, and it wasn't like that. And that was the first time I seen the foster mom that was raising my son. And I just remember looking at her, and she smiled at me, and I felt at peace. Like I felt like he's in a good space. I think I'll be okay with this. So I remember just feeling the resentments during that time, because he's going to call her mama, all this stuff, you know, all that.
That's your baby.
And everything. But at that moment in time, I just had this peace knowing he was going to be safe.
Okay.
And, but that night I ended up going back out and using, and I was out on the streets for 4 years.
Wow. So did you have to sign your rights away at that time?
I did. Okay. So he's now in an adopted, probably to a really great family. What I seen on the mom, she seems, I just don't know. I had a really good, peaceful feeling about it.
Oh, he was adopted?
He was adopted
by her. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and you haven't seen him?
I haven't seen him since. No.
Oh
God.
Yeah. That has to be a lot weighing on you. Oh man.
Yeah, that's definitely, I'm going to therapy, trying to work through it and everything, and trying to forgive myself for that.
Yeah.
But also realizing that I did the best that I could, and I did the right thing for him.
With what you could at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because had he been with us during that 4 years, say that, we were in our addiction and on the street.
Right.
That child, no, that wouldn't have been safe.
So you sign away the rights for him. That's the baby. Right.
Right.
Where's the other daughter? Did you have a daughter?
My daughter. I have a daughter. Yeah. She was with her grandmother. She's the middle child.
Then the oldest, because he was 18. Okay. I got you. Yeah. Okay. So 18. And then the other one, the little girl's with the grandma. Oh, so you're with him now for these next 4 years using? Yes. And you guys are both just on the street?
Just on the street. We moved from California to El Paso, Texas. We were there for about 1.5 years. And then went to Colorado, and then back to California, and just kind of like ran the streets of Sacramento. And it was just, I don't know why in my head I thought if we move states, everything's going to be better. So every time it would be good for maybe a week, and then there would be connections to get the drug or whatever, and then it would be gone.
And are you guys flat out on the streets? Like you're living on the streets?
Yeah.
Like where are you sleeping?
Well, we have a car. So we're sleeping in the car, but usually like Walmart parking lots or wherever we could find something where the cops wouldn't knock on the door and be like, hey, you guys need to move.
Right.
And so that wasn't, like very fun, like just sleeping where we could if we did.
Food. What are you doing to eat?
Food, really, crazy thing was it was cheaper to buy the drug to not be hungry is what my mentality was telling me. So it was really hard at that time. And then, but I ended up, at this point I've got, my VA benefits coming in. So my disability check is coming in. So we're able to, get food
you have
and
a
stuff
little
like that.
something.
Right. Yeah. So we have something because we're both veterans. We're both on that and everything. But, we just didn't use.
Where are you even having your check delivered to?
It gets deposited into
just
your
in the bank.
account. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, but we were able to do that, but money would be gone right away, So any bills or whatever, the gas, buying stuff,
right.
All that was my check. So it was gone. And yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot.
Yeah.
What made it change? What made it all change?
Well, I just remember the night that, because I would just remember being like, I cannot do this anymore. My body is so shot from being, hit and, I was just sore.
So he was violent this whole time.
He was violent, yeah. And so I just remember thinking, I can't do this anymore. He's going to kill me one day if I don't keep it, because he was getting even more and more. It was going to the choking to, just serious, I didn't know what to do.
Right.
So it was crazy because my oldest son calls me and he's like, Mom, I just want you to know that you're going to be a grandmother. And I was just like, what? I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I was excited and I was like, I got to get clean for this grandbaby so I can be in his life. Aww. And so I remember it took a couple months for me to kind of stop. And I remember in April of 2022, I was just like, that's it. I'm not going to use anymore. But I also thought my ex would stop using as well if I stopped.
Right.
It didn't. And he continued. He came home he was he was just out of his mind that night. And he was just hitting me, and it got to the point where my back was so sore and it felt like something was broken in the back of it, a little bit rattling. And I just remember I was like, I got to get out of here. My son's calls me 2 days later, and my son had no clue about this at all. But he's like, Mom, do you want to come up and visit us in Kentucky? And, for a couple of weeks before the baby gets here. And I was like, absolutely. They drove all the way from Kentucky to California. My ex could not leave because he had a court date. He didn't know what it was for.
They drove to get you?
Yeah, they did. They drove so that they could bring me back to Kentucky. And my ex couldn't go with me because he had a court date coming up from 2018, something that he didn't even know. I don't remember. And so that one was for when he had choked me out so bad and got arrested.
Okay.
Later on, we found that out. But
so for domestic violence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so drove back to Kentucky, and then my son was like, we can help you for a couple weeks and everything. Stayed with him.
Does he know that you have a history of drug use and things like that?
Oh, yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He definitely knows. And so, yeah, he was I was already a month clean at that point when he came and got me. So, we get back to Kentucky, and my ex had given me credit cards to get on a plane to go back to California. But every time I would talk to him on the phone, it would be even more screaming, yelling. I was super scared to go back. So I was just at one point I did completely did not talk to him after that, because I was just I know I've got to do something. I don't know what. I ended up going to an organization and getting help with some resources. I also went into the VA and told them my situation. They hooked me up with this amazing organization called Operation Stand Down, and they were able to help get me into a domestic violence shelter. And
wow.
So
is this still in Kentucky?
In Kentucky.
Okay.
So they helped me, get into that place. Thankfully, they had one bed open. at that point. So I knew something was there that I could start my, like whatever it was. I know I just was super scared because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to trust. I always leaned on my ex's opinion on everything. So
Well, and you were on the streets for
that too.
a long time.
Yeah. So it was just like, I was so codependent on what other people told me to do and stuff. And so like just being able to go through the support groups and, doing the therapy through them and really learning what domestic violence is about. I was just like blown away because there's so much to it. And
for sure,
all the information that was given, knowing that I'm not alone. The support groups were amazing. The ladies in there, and
it's like that was exactly what you were missing.
Yeah, and it's just like wow, and then hearing other people's stories and being able to relate, and
and not think you're just absolutely crazy and it's all your fault, and
yeah. So just continued with that and everything, and then I ended up in a transitional housing for like a month before I was able to get my own apartment. So within 9 months' time, I had my own place.
Wow.
But it was just amazing with all the support, the caseworkers, the social workers, and people that were like put in my path. And I'm just like, and I took everything and like pretty much any suggestion there was, hey, you need to do this. It was a lot of work involved.
Right.
But
of course. Yeah. For sure.
Worth it. And it helped build my self-esteem, because then I'm like, oh, I can do this by myself, with help, obviously. So, yeah.
I love that. So many people just don't realize how much those, the places like that can help. Yeah. They have no clue and they're afraid of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So you have a good story behind that for sure. So 9 months goes by, you're getting your own place now? Mm-hmm. You're still clean?
Yeah. Still clean and sober. Mm-hmm.
Doing support groups?
Doing support groups, doing therapy through the VA, whatever support groups they offered and said, hey, this is going to work for you. I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And so, just continuing with the therapy, continuing with support groups, and then I go to meetings as well for, support for my alcohol and drug use. And it's been an amazing.
So you have found your people in these groups.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So much support from everybody. I have amazing people I can reach out to if I need to, if I'm having a hard day. And the VA's been really good too, because you can just walk in, if it's daytime hours, obviously. But, but for them to be able to stop and listen, that's been a great help too.
I love that.
Yeah. So, and then, I started working in recovery for a little bit, about 14 months. I started working there, working with people that were, very new to recovery, and being able to be the support system and everything. And I found my love in wanting to work in that field. And so then I applied at a local college to go in for the social work program. Yay. So now I'm doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how long have you been sober now?
A little over 3 years now.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have to be proud of yourself now.
Very proud. It's been hard work, but it's been worth it. So.
Now, have you seen the kids at all?
Oh yeah, my daughter lives with me today. My son still lives in Kentucky with his son, and my youngest, obviously, if he wants to find me one day.
Yeah. Was it an open adoption or
it was
closed?
Not. It was closed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Where's the abusive guy at now?
Not sure. Have not talked to him since 2022. So.
Wow. Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you stayed away?
I did. I had to. I had to do no contact at all. Because I was like, well, the last 5, 6, 7 times I didn't do that. So this time I have to keep up with it. I had to.
God, you just hope that he got help or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Just find more women to treat like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. In 3 years. Mm-hmm. So are you going to school now, and are you working too, or?
I'm just going to school right now.
Good.
So I graduate in December with my associate's degree, and then I'm going on to my bachelor's degree. And
good for you.
Hopefully, just I'm trying to become a therapist.
Yeah.
And so go for it. And
you have to be proud of yourself. God, you've come so far.
Yeah, because I remember I didn't have a voice for so long.
Right.
And now with everything that was placed in my life, it's just like I have a voice today.
And you probably have friends, you have people you can turn to.
Mhm.
See, I love stories like this. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, your daughter has to be proud of you too.
Oh, yeah.
Your son in Kentucky, then you have your grandbaby, right?
Yeah.
How old's the grandbaby now?
He's going to be 3 in September.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
So cute.
We have 3 too. We have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, both boys. And then we just had our new granddaughter. Actually, what is today? Monday? Say Monday? I don't even know what the
Monday.
day is. Yeah, actually today she's 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah. And they're in Florida.
Congratulations.
But yeah, I mean, grandbabies, they get your whole heart, don't they?
do. They can do no wrong.
I know. I know. Oh, but they're just so awesome. And your son's doing good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they married or?
No, they're not.
But together,
Yeah.
are they together?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Is there anything else that you want to add? Like what would you tell the younger you that is just starting to use, that is just going down that spiral? What do you wish someone would have told you?
Probably ask for help when you need it.
Yeah.
Talk to people, trust the mental health field,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't trust it then.
Right. Well, you had no reason to really trust anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's good advice, because so many people are stubborn and they just don't think anybody can help them, and their self-worth is just so low that it really doesn't matter who's around.
Right.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.